Hey, Kurt, what you got for us today?
For pet's sake, Emily, we're here at the Spirit of Game Foundation room here, and we're coming out here in the mantra of the World Ability Podcast Network. And yes, it is for pet's sake. This show, created by Greg Boone, one of our friends from All Stars and Stripes Heroes Connections that meets on Mondays. And Greg has a great passion for pets as a product line for pets, and also very passionate about horse rescue. So, as we collaborate, as we network and get with all of our friends at All Stars and Stripes Heroes Connection, Greg wanted to create a little mantra that all our friends could come in here and share for pets' sake. What are you doing with your pets or other people's pets? And what do they have to say about horse rescue? Because we've made that our mantra. We have plans going out to a year from now already, talking like 14 months from now. Already have plans in place. So this is taking off. And watch out. I hear there's going to be a starship coming through here. Greg, take it away. This is your show for pet's sake.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Um, Thank you everybody for joining us today. Um, so just wanted to mention that be going over talking about senior pets today and their health and how they're getting around these days and everything. As your pets age, they might lose that spark. And I've got like Kurt said, I do have a product called Pet Life that definitely helps with that, helps with mobility and gosh, just about anything. Um, my parents' dog, when I found out that my parents' dog had stage 4 kidney failure, I knew that I had to take immediate action and get her on Pet Life. And that has been, I believe, 12 weeks ago now. Been it's been a while since I got her on Pet Life, and she's doing great, acting like a puppy again, and which is completely different than how she was, you know, um, when I found out. She was not drinking on her own. She was not eating, just lethargic, kind of lost that spark. And but now, like I said, now she is turned around and doing great. So eating a lot better and everything. And so um it's a great product. It can help with your dog's joint issues, especially like bigger breeds like labs and retrievers, Great Danes, and just and how that works is it's the formulation that helps replenish mitochondria. And if you've ever heard of mitochondria, it's it's the energy in every living being cells. So that's and as you know, everything takes energy. So it takes energy to heal and all that. So doing awesome things. So with horses and chickens even. So had some lady give a testimonial that a hawk had got one of her chickens and really marred its back up bad, and it dropped it, and I guess the chicken ran off, and the neighbor found it and took it back to the lady, and she put the more Mito cream on it, and um, it at first it was hesitant, but then as it start, getting better, it actually looked forward to that cream um, and everything. So it's growing feathers now and everything, and so doing great. So anyway, yeah, there's a cream. It's called Rejuvenate, and then there's the actual Pet Life, which is an oil. So the oil is taken internally. So anyway, um, want to introduce my guest, Angela Nelson. Um, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you don't have any pets currently, but you've had some pets in the past,
Lots.
and yeah, I thought I'd let you take a moment to share about that.
Yeah, I had 7 kids, and so you cannot have 7 children without having pets. And we usually lived in the country, and so pets were also, and we homeschooled, so pets were often school projects as well. We had everything from horses, goats, chickens, sheep. Of course, dogs, my favorite being a Great Pyrenees. Love Great Pyrenees. And we had a Great Pyrenees and a Chihuahua at the same time. They were like Mutt and Jeff. But yeah, we had always had lots of pets. Right now, I have a pet rock.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay.
but I do hope to get a pet here pretty soon. I'm going to be moving into a house, and right now living in an apartment, and there's a lot of pets here, but uh, it's a lot to have to take the dog down the elevator and go out and find a park and all of that. So, but I miss having a pet. And I know I'm going to have a cat because we're kind of doing a roommate situation where 2 of my sons are going to be moving into the house with my daughter and her kids and I, and they're going to be off on jobs, like on contract jobs all the time. So they just need a room for storage. And my son has a cat, Allie, and yeah, she's a little feral, but but she knows me, and I'm looking forward to having her back in my life.
Good. Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and my daughter that I'm moving in with, we're all moving in together. Um, she has a cat as well named Toast, so it's going to be interesting to see how Toast and Allie get along.
Yeah. Sometimes cats don't get along with each other. I know my sister had some cats that didn't get along quite well, and so, but um, they do now. So something happened that switched, and so yeah, so it's yeah,
Yeah, they kind of got their pecking order figured out. Who's the boss? I bet now.
gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Well, these two are both girls, so
Okay.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That could yeah.
So
That
when
could
I was growing up, we had pets, but mostly dogs, but we moved around a lot. Like I moved over 40 times by the time I left home at 16. And so it was hard to have an animal when you move that much. So when
mm,
I later in life, when I got married and had children, uh, I found that I really do love animals.
awesome. Awesome. I I I love animals. I'm more of a dog person. Nothing against cats. I've had cats when I was a kid, um, and had cats after I got well, actually before I got married. But anyway, I'm more of a dog person. Growing up, we had family dogs, and younger we had cats. We had a family of cats, and but dogs hold a certain place in my heart, and it's had some really good dogs, and they've actually all been good, great dogs. And uh, then I got married and had a black lab, and then the following year I got a English pointer, and great dogs, and of course, took them out hunting with me, bird hunting and everything, and you know they weren't the best at hunting, but they kept me company, and you know, Ginger, my English pointer, um, always seemed to find mice, never bird,
Oh,
but yeah, but
thought
I'm sorry.
she thought she was a cat, huh?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did. My black lab, he was part German short hair, and so he would point, and it was the coolest thing. I first saw that happen, and I went over there and I kicked a couple quail out, and
Uh,
but it was dove season at the time, so I had him out bird hunting with me then, and um, anyway, yeah, so I thought it was pretty cool, but anyway, so they're both gone, long time gone. Had them, gosh, I think I lost my black lab last. He died in 2012. So,
oh,
and yeah, and then my English pointer, I lost her in 2007, I want to say. So, yeah.
yeah, my last pet that was close to me, I had a Chihuahua that I had gotten back in, I think it was in 2006 or 2007, but in 2021, she passed away. And I had she was really close to my second to the youngest son. And he went away after when he graduated high school. He went and became a Marine and went had been away. Well, uh, in July of 2021, I had open heart surgery and for fix a birth defect that I had, and all my kids got to come home to be with me, and she had been sick, and so we were kind of sick together. It was kind of sad, but she just it seemed like ever since my son went away, that second to youngest son went away, she just seemed like she got depressed. And, I tried to comfort her and everything, but she was just really close to him. And when he came home, it was about a week after my surgery, she passed away. And, but it was sweet because she had him there and he got to hold her um, because she had uh, you know, I guess her live she was in organ failure, and so they took her to the vet, and they said, no, we need to put her down, and he got to hold her. So it worked out kind of. It was sad, but it worked out really good that in that little window when he was there, she got to die in his arms. So. But her name was Bambi. When I got her, she was old enough to like stand in the palm of my hand, or she could like curl up and sleep in the palm of my hand. She was so tiny,
Yeah.
and but she was fierce. Like everybody was afraid of her, and she didn't get any bigger than about that long. Maybe she was a
Mhm.
miniature Chihuahua, I guess. I've noticed there's Chihuahuas all different sizes, but she was more of a tiny one. Other
Yeah.
than she went through a spell where she got really fat. We had to put her on a diet. So she was about as wide as she was tall. And but she slimmed down and she was sweet, sweet little dog.
Yeah. 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 My parents' dog, speaking of weight, my parents' dog actually gained um, a couple pounds. When they brought her home, she weighed just under 15 pounds. And I weighed her the other day and she weighed 17.2, 17.2 pounds. So that's good. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking about that cream stuff. Do people use that?
Yes. Yes, they
Huh?
do. I
Yeah.
I actually use the cream. Believe it or not, just I know this is a pet story, pet show, but um, I had dunked my hand in a hot pan of brownies, and by mistake, and I had taken the pan of brownies out of the oven to check them, and when I went to put them back in the oven, my pot holder, the loop that holds it on a hook, kind of got caught around one of the spokes on the stovetop, and pulled my hand off of the pan, and then momentum drove it back down in the pan of brownies. And
Wow.
they had about 3 or 4 minutes left. They were still really gooey.
Gooey.
And
Oh.
oh man, did I scream bloody murder.
Oh.
Oh man, it hurt. It hurt. I rinsed that stuff off, and because I had brownie all over my hand, and sad it had to go in the sink, and not in my stomach. Um, but I immediately put on the rejuvenant, and I'm telling you, within an hour, um, the redness had faded a lot, and then by the third hour, the only visible place was this knuckle was red. The
Mm.
rest of my hand, you would never know that it had been burned.
Wow.
And I never blistered. It never blistered. Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think about when I hear you talk about that stuff, it makes me think back on all the years that we had pets and how they're
mhm,
always getting hurt somehow or another.
mhm,
And or especially if you have more than one animal, they like to bite each other or kick
yeah.
each other, and think how handy that would have been to have
Oh yeah.
put on. Like my daughter had a horse, AJ. I remember AJ. It was a beautiful horse. It was a quarter horse, but we had donkeys,
Mhm.
which are great for keeping coyotes away. If you've never lived in the country and going to transition to, like a Green Acres type of life, um, we got donkeys to keep the coyotes away, but they also can hurt your smaller animals uh, and the bigger animals too. And so she took a chunk out of that horse's ear, and it made it hard because every time my daughter would have to go put medication on the ear, it hurt. So it made him it made it hard for her to bond with him. So, but having something like that would have been really handy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So
Yeah.
mm,
I thought of a story about a cat and a dog that I had when I was a kid growing up. Wanted
mhm.
to share with you because you
Okay.
share his pet stories. But we had we lived in Tennessee. I think I was about 12 years old, and it was the only time growing up that we actually lived in the country. And it's the longest I ever lived anywhere. We lived there like 14 months, and uh, we had we had a cat and a dog, and the dog's name was Missy. She was kind of, I don't know, like a medium-sized dog, white dog. She was just really cute. And then we had, I'm not sure what kind she was, but we thought she had some moyed in her. Um, anyways, we had a cat and we got a kitten. And one day we put some scraps out for them, some meat scraps. We had a big uh, like a T-bone that we gave to the dog, and we had some pork chop bones that we put out for the cats to eat on. And we were always given animal scraps. I know some people say don't do that, but we did. Um, anyway, so um, we hear all this commotion out on the porch, and we go out there, and the cat, this little kitten, is like straddling the T-bone, uh, and it like right over top of the T-bone, and she's got her back arched and her hair standing up, her tail straight up, and she's hissing at the dog, and the dog's barking like because she wants that T-bone. But that
Yeah.
cat, no, she won. That kitten got that T-bone.
Wow.
The dog had to settle for the little pork chop bones.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That dog that we had, uh, she had a couple litters of puppies, and I remember one of the litters, there were four of them, and we named them uh, Bourbon, Brandy, Gin, and I forget the other one, but they were all like alcoholics.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Um,
We did
gosh.
have our first dog. I remember it was actually my sister's dog, because when we got her, she was so scared. She ran up under my sister's bed
Mm,
and ended up taking to her instead of anybody else in the family. So she kind of became her dog. But my dad had to go on this job where it was like very short term, and we had to stay for like 3 months in a hotel, and so we had a friend of the family keep her. Her name was Tootsie. She was a little kind of a wiener dog, and
mm,
and so this friend, she was actually my grandmother's best friend, and she was also my aunt's mother-in-law. And she was a very large woman. As a matter of fact, my cousin said she had four grandmothers, and she would say, she'd name them off, and she'd say, "This is my grandma Ruby because she's the big one." But and I can talk about that because she made fun of herself all the time, and it was no body shaming or anything like that. Things were different back then too.
right.
Um, but um, but she loved that dog. And she only had the dog for like 3 months, and we came back to get the dog, and the dog looked like a mini her, and she had gotten as wide as she was long. she But it was cute because we had taught her how to roll over and do all these tricks, and but whenever she'd try to roll over, she was so big it would like take her forever to get rolled over. And we ended up actually giving her that dog because they got so close. You could just tell she didn't want to leave her. She obviously got fed very well. And
Yeah.
uh, and everybody in the family would go visit Ruby. She was a very dear woman. Loved her so much and miss her. But yeah, Ruby and Tootsie kind of went hand in hand together, or hand in paw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I had one of my cousin's horses had got caught up in some barbed wire, and you were talking about how wish we could have this stuff available back then. Yeah, its foot had got somehow caught in the barbed wire, and it was bad. It was bad. They ended up having to put it down. But I uh, just wish that at that time I would have had that stuff, had known about that stuff, and it definitely could have saved that's that horse's life. So because it
Yeah.
would have healed it. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that barbed wire can be really hard on. Was that a horse you said?
of course,
Yeah, they uh that can be really hard on them. We had a horse here in Texas. It was a cutting horse, and
Uh,
she uh, got. We thought she might have been shot because she had been out in the pasture and she came back and she had a big old hole in this just in her side. And so we called the vet and we thought maybe, like a hunter was out shooting and she, caught a bullet and um they came out and pulled a thorn out of her side about that long. And it was one of those boat like a from a boat arc. It's these trees are just they're mean and gnarly. They have those big green they call them horse apples on them. I don't know if y'all have them where you're at,
I
but
don't think so.
yeah, they're it's boat arc. I remember my sister had a boat arc tree in her front yard, and her ex-husband, her husband at the time, went out with a chainsaw to try to cut this tree down because it kept dropping those big green horse apples on their vehicles, and so it would not even touch it. Like it, it just kept breaking his chainsaw chain, and uh, yeah. So though here in Texas, there's a lot of things that you have to uh, be careful of. A lot of ways animals can get hurt. Of course, you got coyotes and you've got uh sometimes like when we had a drought one time, like the ground opened up about that much, like cracks in the ground because it was so dry. And those horses can break a leg in those. So it's a huge responsibility having a pet. That's why I don't have one right now, because I think far too many people get pets not thinking it all the way through. And when I do get a pet, I'm going to be ready.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I do miss it though, because
Yeah.
right now, uh, yeah, I mean, it's the first time I haven't had a pet in probably 25 years. No, actually, probably since I was a little kid, I think I've always had pets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Which is amazing that I even got to have pets when I was a kid growing up, because my mom hated animals, like any kind of animal, she hated them. And she made it known, like if she would be visiting somebody, and for some reason, all the pets were just drawn to her. Like they would always go right up to her, and she would be like, "No, I hate pets," And so when we as kids wanted to get pets, it was like we had to I kind of became a really good salesman because of it. So, because we had to learn how to sell our mom on having a pet.
yeah, yeah. My mom, speaking of moms, my mom, when she was growing up, lived out in Burns, Kansas, and so they're out in the country, and she had like three pets. I think she had a bunny. She had, I think she had a chicken and maybe a cow. And she named each one of them after my dad. Like one of them was Denny, another one was Eugene, and the other one was Booney. And she found out um, why you don't name farm animals. So I guess un, un, unknown to her, the rabbit ended up on her dinner plate, and found out later that that's where that's where the rabbit went.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, I think the same fate fell on the chicken and the cow. But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
hard when the kids get attached to an animal that's meant to be on the dinner table. I call her my little sister. She was a year old when I married my ex-husband back in 1994. And her and I are really close. So I tell people I got her in the divorce. And so, but when she was little, she could train any kind of animal. She had a chicken trained to pull a little wagon. She built this little wagon for the chicken and made a little harness for it. And this chicken would ride on her shoulder everywhere she went. And yeah, she trained it to do anything. And all of her animals are that way. And she's always had horses and uh, dogs and all of that. And now she has children and they're growing up to be just like her. But I do remember when she was little, they had a cow, and she named the cow, and that cow ended up being, whenever we'd go over for dinner, they'd talk about, well, are we eating? I forget the name of the cow, but are we we eating so and so again? And it made it hard for me to eat the food just because I knew that like it was something that was special to her. But um,
Right.
farm kids they learn things differently. I think it's really a healthy life for kids to
Mhm.
learn about a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
my kids always had animals, like I said, and we had birds, we had macaws, lady gouldy and finches, and till we had a house fire in 2012, and we got the animals out. Well, the birds actually woke us up. They saved our life. Uh, because it was this old house that needed a lot of work, and we were renovating it. It looked like a castle. It literally had like the turrets on the corners, um and but we had not put in fire alarms yet, and we had just put in this wood stove. And so when the house caught fire like 2 in the morning, it was the birds, because they were up higher than us. They could smell the smoke or whatever, and they started making a bunch of noise in the middle of the night and woke us up and literally saved our lives.
Wow.
But we weren't able to get them out because their cage was too big to manage to get out. And so we got we had some macaws. We had three of them, and we were able to get them out. Their cages too were too big because we had these gigantic cages because we wanted them to have plenty of room. And so we went in with blankets. My ex-husband, now he grabbed them and brought them out, and we had no place to put them. So he put them in this toolbox in the back of his truck that was empty, but put them in together, and they weren't used to being together. And the two macaws ganged up on the Malaccan cockatoo that we had. And when she ended up dying from the trauma of everything the next day, it was like she was our favorite. And so we were like, our heart just kind of went out of raising birds after that. And so
Yeah.
we ended up taking them there's an exotic animal sale up in Tennessee. We took them to that. We were living in Tennessee at the time, but
Mm.
yeah.
Wow.
So, but I love those birds though.
Yeah.
Malaccan cockatoos. You ever had birds?
I have had birds when I was a kid. We had parakeets. We had
Hmm.
parakeets. So
Yeah.
yeah, so um and one of the cats had jumped from a dresser onto the top of the bird cage, and I can't remember for sure, but I think that the bird kind of like had a heart attack or something because of that, and died. But I knew
Oh,
something had happened, but um yeah, it was terrible. But yeah, and then I had an uncle who passed away in 2006, and he had cockatoos or cockatiels. I think
The cockatoos are pretty big.
the
They're
big, the big
like
white
this
one.
big. Yeah.
White.
That would,
Yeah. He had one of
yeah.
those and then a bunch of parakeets and I think he also had a couple cockatiels. And anyway, he passed away in his house and a few of the birds had gotten out and well they ended up dying. It was in the middle of summer. It was like I think it was July and the house just got hot and they, you know, ran out of
Yeah.
water. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of them did survive, and I was able to give them to one of my friends, and she took the ones that survived and kept them. So,
Yeah. Because you rescued them.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, speaking of
Yeah.
rescuing, wanted to mention that we um, are on a mission to help rescue horses from slaughter, and just want to try and bring that to awareness of everybody. And so a lot of horses, wild horses included, and then race horses, pets, a lot of domestic. The majority of them are domestic horses that end up in auctions, and the kill buyers outbid everybody that wants the horses, and they end up getting shipped off to Mexico or Canada, and yeah, so we're
No, they
just
always called it, they went to the glue factory, is what.
yeah, that's yeah. When I was a kid, that's what I heard.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah. That's
but
sad.
it
It's
is.
so sad. Yeah.
So yeah,
Horses are such majestic animals. And my
yeah,
daughter, since the time she was really young, I'm talking really, if she could hold a pencil, she would do art and like draw horses. And her horses had, I called them horseality, because they looked like there was always a story that her pictures told about. You could almost tell what the horse was thinking. Like one time she drew a picture of a horse out. It was in the winter time, and there was a snowman, and the horse had a carrot in its mouth, and there was no nose on the. You could see where it used to be on the nose of the snowman. I was like, oh, that's really cool. But just it's like there was she had a connection with horses and still does. And
mhm,
it's one of our goals to we're kind of we're grouping our resources right now to be able to invest in some property out. And we're wanting to build kind of like a family. I don't want to call it a compound, but like a family village, like where everybody has their own homes and where we can have the animals and the horses and all of that to be able to raise my grandkids with
yeah,
that country life. And like I
awesome.
said, I call myself a like a, I was raised in the city with concrete, like
Mhm.
um, and I missed out a lot. So uh, I'd love to have my grandkids grow up with the farm animals.
Yeah,
It teaches them responsibility
mhm,
um, and that's the biggest one. But it also teaches them science and
mhm,
understanding how things grow. I forget, my daughter said something the other day about whether or not there was some animal. She said, "Oh, did it come from an egg?" And we're like, "No, we definitely need to teach." She's like 6, and we're like, "No, she didn't come. This animal did not come from an egg."
so, um, but I guess. I guess that about does it for today. Um,
Yeah. I
So,
appreciate you having me on.
yeah,
And I
I,
am I'm happy that we got to meet through the networking group.
yes,
And
same here. Same here. Thank you.
and I know you've become a good friend. So
Yes, absolutely. Um, yes, I enjoy Mondays, coming on and talking and everything, and our one-to-ones that we have, and so yeah, so
yeah. And in case somebody hears this in the future, it is a networking group for military veterans, first responders, and their families, or anybody who wants to do business to business networking. And we just support one another. It's free. I cover all the cost of the platform that we meet on, and just to be able to have a um, kind of a mission to pull people together that have a common interest.
you able to tell them how to join if they
Yeah,
wanted
if
to.
you go to the Scuttlebutt, TheScuttlebutt.com, the scuttlebutt.com. Oh, no, the scuttlebutt.club.
Club.
Not right? Yeah.
Yes, club.
Yeah,
Club.
.club, sorry. And that is kind of the landing page where I have our Zoom registration link. You do have to register with whatever email that you use to set up your Zoom account. And you'll get a registration link to be able to get into the meeting. And we're on Alignable on Facebook. It's called All Stars and Stripes Heroes Connection is the actual name of the group. And we meet on Mondays at 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 Mountain Time, 1 o'clock Pacific Time. And we meet for an hour. We start each meeting with Pledge of Allegiance, the national anthem, moment of silence, and we have a spotlight speaker. Everybody gets to tell a little bit about themselves. Uh, Everybody gets like a business brief. You get a minute to tell about yourself. And we just kind of keep up with current events when it comes to military and veterans and that sort of thing. It's a great group.
Yes, yes, it is. I'm proud to be a part of that group. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So,
Okay.
and Phil, welcome to come back sometime in the future if you'd like to.
Okay. So the theme of this podcast is pets, and I know lots of people who have special connections to animals and pets and that sort of thing. I think it's a great thing that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, absolutely. If you know anyone that would like to be a guest on my show, um, definitely send them my way, and would love to have a talk with them about pets. So,
Sounds good.
thank you. Kurt, any last words?
Did he abandon us?
I think so.
So again, we are here every second and fourth Friday, or second and fourth Thursday of the month at 3 o'clock Central for Pet's Sake podcast with Greg Boone. So I encourage everybody to check out our social media and let us know. Like to be a guest, Greg, how would they contact you if they wanted to be a guest?
Contact me by email, Greg at boons-farm.com.
Sounds good.
Farm.
Oh, and farm is PHARM.
Sounds good. Until next time, everybody has a the weekend is today.